Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Filmmaker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center, and I'm here with Carolyn with her movie Better Than You Doing You, Don't Be Mad. Let's take a look at the clip. Carolyn, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your film.
Thank you so much.
For those that haven't seen your film, I have said it's the best synopsis I've ever seen. So tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
The Better Than You Doing You, Don't Be Mad is a music video inspired dance film where the lead character, CV, is this sassalicious, coy, unsuspecting rebel. And she is basically kind of embodying the spirit of someone who's living the life as an artist. So somebody who's living their life according to vision and taking risks, and a life that's not secure and that has no certainty for the future, but someone who's living it for the joy of just of the production of the art itself. And she enters into an office space where she's surrounded by a group of people, kind of these zombie-like office workers who are living a life according to security and stability and just your standard kind of non-inspired 9-to-5 jobs. And through very quirky hand gestures and stylized facial expressions, she's kind of communicating to them in a very confident way that she's living a life that's indeed better than them.
Oh, I love it. Why would you not want to see this film? Honestly, I can't believe it's your first film. Like, I was like amazed.
Thank you.
And when I watched it to meet with you today, but I watched it once on the laptop, but when I saw it on the big screen, it just was just electric. It was so wonderful to see there. It was like a well-deserved place where it should be. Where did the inspiration come for you in wanting to make this particular project and make it into a film?
For a very long time, I've always wanted to make a film that that's inspired by the structure of a rap or hip hop music video, where kind of the general structure tends to be where you have your rapper who is singing or lip syncing to the camera, they're filling up the full frame, and it's all, little hand gestures that are very cocky and kind of where they're basically telling the audience, I'm so much better than you, my life is much more awesome compared to yours. And so I always wanted to create a video that was like that, but where the dancer actually gets to stand in as the lead role, as the main character, as the rapper, so to speak. Because usually in a lot of music videos, you have the singer, and then they cut away for the chorus to a group of dancers who are all dancing in unison in a random location. But they're not the feature, we gotta go back to the music artist. And I wanted to have it where let's have the dancer actually be the spotlight in this. And so I thought that the whole concept, the idea of artists kind of telling a bunch of people that, hey, my life is better than yours, kind of resembled the thematic through line of a lot of hip hop videos, so I thought it was a perfect match.
I love that you put the focus in on that, because we take for granted in concerts and in music videos just the incredible talent of dancers and how they actually make the artists look fantastic, essentially through their great creativity and their great movement. I love that you put this in focus. I thought your dancers were amazing. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off just the amazing choreography. But I was thinking at the same time, how on earth did you film this? Like, it looked like you really challenged yourself for your first film. It was amazing. How was the filming process? Because you had a lot of different movements to capture. How was that experience for you?
Well, yeah, this is my first film. I don't have a filmmaking background at all. Wow. I've never went to film school or anything. I'm a choreographer and a dancer, and I've always created work for live performance. Yeah. But I always knew that that my work just really needed to be on camera, that it would feature it a lot better. My choreography has a lot of facial expressions, and it has very detailed hand and foot movements that just do not read on large stages. And so that really pushed me to get out of what's my normal comfort zone to think, how do I get this on camera? And so I have a friend who he has a film background, and he's been mentoring me and helping me through the process of learning, rather than just saying, go in, go in, go in. You have to say, dolly in, and learning all of the lingo, which is, which for,
it's tough,
which it's been, and writing a shot list and everything, so I've created videos before this, but this was the process of actually putting together a full film definitely challenged me, but all of the skills that I have been building through creating live performance and then just little videos here and there completely helped me put this whole thing together.
I mean, you did it superbly, and I agree. I think you have such intricate movements and facial and gestures that on camera it really captures so wonderfully well. I think universally what I loved about your film as well is that anyone that's got a dream, maybe doing a mundane job, maybe not feeling their greatest, but have got confidence there but can't unleash it, you could have just helped a whole nation or international amount of people to say, right, that's it, I'm gonna go and follow my dreams, I'm gonna do this, I'm good enough. And did you kind of want to give a sort of perspective like that as well? Because it just made me feel like, right, that's it, I can just jump on the table, I can do anything,
I've kind of always lived my life with the philosophy of everybody has different natural born abilities, and we each need to recognize what is our individual potential. We all have different varying aspects of what our potential is and interests, but just we each individually need to live our best life, whatever that is. And I think a lot of people kind of become very complacent and follow just very specific paths when they could challenge themselves a lot more and push themselves outside of what is kind of just the world that they know. And so that's what I'm constantly trying to do. And it's not an easy life when you're doing that, but it's one where at the end, it's kind of a prolonged gratification. You end up feeling fulfilled versus just momentarily kind of satisfied and happy.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I think that was what was such a wonderful experience. It was just breaking the mold, breaking down barriers of yourself, going out there and being like, I can do this, and I really felt that strong confidence just from these incredible, pieces and movements. And just, I love how you brought this dance into a boardroom meeting or in the middle of the office. Now, you filmed in the middle of an office, an actual office, which sounded quite challenging. How was that experience for you?
So I needed an office space, and we had an extremely small budget. We were under $1,000 for our budget.
So you could do it under $1,000.
Yes.
Amazing.
And so I'm just extremely lucky that my father has his own company and he has an office space, and so
thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad. Yes. Yeah. And so I asked him. I said, "Can we please film at your space?" And he said yes. But I didn't quite tell him that I was going to basically completely deconstruct his office. Right. So he comes in the shooting day, and in the evening before our shoot, we literally cleared out the conference table, we cleared out all of the art pieces. I mean, we cleared out everything except the desks and the computers.
Oh my goodness.
And then we had the shoot from 7 a.m. until 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
There you go.
Because this was on a Sunday.
Yep.
And then the stock market he has to be there at 5 a.m. So we had to get the space back together by 5 a.m. that morning. And so it was filled with delirious thoughts in the head, and my nose would not stop bleeding for about an hour. But I'm trying to put binders back in where they're supposed to go and remember everything, but we made it work.
Wow.
All for making a 3-minute film.
I mean, was it worth it?
Yes, it was definitely worth it.
I mean, I think if anyone wants to, that's why it's so important to ask that question, because when you look back, you're like, oh, that looked, you made it look very, very easy. So it's, when you see the challenges, you're like, yeah, filming is extremely tough, but you did it. So what's it like after going through all those experiences and then seeing your film on the big screen at NewFilmmakers LA? What was that experience like, just to feel like, wow, here it is in front of an audience?
It was a very, very real and emotional experience for me. I usually dance in all of my own pieces. And so since I usually choreograph live performances and I'm dancing in almost every single piece that I put out there, I don't actually get to watch my own work, and I don't get to experience what it's like being in the audience, and I don't get to hear the reactions as intimately as you get to hear with people when you're sitting in the audience. And so this film, it debuted in Berlin, and then it was also in Montreal, but I didn't get to go see those. So this was my first time seeing the film, and there was a large audience there, and to hear them laughing at certain parts of it, and you could just hear the enthusiasm, and I started to cry. It was it was a very moving experience, but it's one of those things where there's so much struggle and frustration that goes into creating something. And it's such a prolonged process where we shot this in March, and getting it quickly edited, all the rehearsals that came into it, and then now finally getting to experience it as I've been kind of dreaming of. It made it where it was like all of that was worth it, and I'm ready to keep going.
I love it, and it was such a wonderful experience to see it there, and it just shook the room. Everyone was just like, whoa, look at this, is amazing. And you're a very talented choreographer as well. Now that you've made this film, what have you maybe have learned from this first experience of making your first film? Is kind of, as a choreographer, as an artist, is there anything you kind of go by, an advice for anyone that you could share with our audience that you kind of go by as an artist?
Something that I learned through this first film was kind of really learning what are your strengths and how you communicate that through your film, which I realized that in the editing process that I feel like I didn't 100% grab onto that as much as I will for my next projects. I think going into any project and knowing specifically what your aesthetic is and what makes your aesthetic unique, and how can you amplify that and communicate that to your audience as much as possible is really important. And so some of the things that I know make my choreography highly unique are the amount of facial choreography and the amount of detailed handwork, and also just the theatricality of it. I treat my dancers as actual characters and actual individual people rather than just bodies just moving their limbs around in geometric patterns. I want each of them individually to read and communicate themselves as a person and as a strong character. And
that really came across.
Good. Yeah. And so the way that needs to be really captured is through oftentimes using much more close-up shots, which I was realizing as I was working on editing it was, man, I went into dancer mode on this, and I was all about setting shots because I'm like, we got to get the feet in, we have to get the knees in, and that was me in dancer mode. And now I realize in filmmaker mode, you got to think a little bit more about how you play up your strengths. And so we were able to kind of to pull in on some of the shots and make them a little bit closer up, thank goodness. But that was one of those things where it was a learning experience through this, where it's like, find what is the main aesthetic interest of yours. And highlight it and just promote the hell out of it. And you're gonna have a very strong vision that you're communicating to your audience, which they'll be able to really grab onto.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to make sure I want to see much more of your films now. I want to see much more of your choreography in films, because it's wonderful, and the way you told this story was just so unique. And I love the fact you've got a unique perspective as a choreographer, and what makes it personal to you as well, which is wonderful. But what is next for you?
I am currently in the pre-production process for 2 short films that I'm choreographing and directing. The next one that we're going to be shooting in October is a music video, or it's a makeup commercial that we're kind of bringing to life through dance. So it's very pink. Every costume in it is this bright pink explosion, basically. But it's including, in the film, there's a face dance that is featured, which is a dance composed entirely of facial expressions. So there's a close-up on, we're gonna have two dancers side by side, and very, very cute choreographed, eye movements and little, it's very personality filled. So it features that, and then also in the second half of the film, it features kind of a Macarena style audience participation dance section, where before the film begins, we have a little intro video where we're going to teach the audience 4 hand gestures.
Oh, fantastic.
And they have to learn, well, hopefully they will willingly participate, and they'll learn those with the video, and then midway through the actual film, there's going to be a cue on the screen, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they have to perform those hand gestures while sitting in their seats with the dancers on the camera.
Oh, I can't wait to see this one. Well, please keep bringing it back to us, because we love your work, and,
Thank you.
and I love what you did, and this is going to be a great one as well. So thank you very much. So thank you for bringing your film to us, Carolyn, and thank you for being here as well. So
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Carolyn.